Welcome to the Nitty Gritty Show. I don't know what week it is. Whoa, Brent. Good
Feels
job.
like it's been kind of a long time.
It's the
Why
week,
does it feel like it's... anyway.
the week of December.
We'll talk about that. Episode 82. Elevate promo. The greatest golf tournament throwers in the world.
It is the best golf tournament ever.
Steven Anderson. Ricky Hacking. Also a stand-up comedian. We'll talk about that.
Ricky, not Steve.
Two very good... Yeah, Ricky is. Didn't I say it right after Ricky?
No, you did.
Okay.
You did.
Geez,
Yeah.
Steve, don't make me question myself. Two very good friends of mine. I've known Steve. We have history. We have history. And we'll talk about that too. But thanks for coming.
15 years at least.
For having us.
I think more.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a while.
Yeah, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And our relationship formed in hell.
Yeah, it did.
And so if we can get through that.
For sure.
Meaning the relationship wasn't hell, just where we were was.
Was that like in a
we were
bunk-
we
like
were
in a-
knocking
in a
doors
bunker
selling
somewhere?
Yeah, we were knocking doors selling alarms. Was the first year in California?
Yeah.
Or was,
It was in Richmond, California, where Tupac grew up, you know.
yeah. Coach Carter.
Iron Triangle, you know.
But they had great credit.
Hold
Yeah.
on. I didn't know you knocked doors.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a
How many
hustler,
years?
baby. I knocked doors for 6 years. I did 3 years in pest control and then 3 years in alarms.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
We
had
were
no
in-
idea.
Where did we
I
live?
learn something new every day.
That's right.
Were we in Concord or no, Walnut Creek?
We were in Pleasant Hill.
Pleasant Hill.
Yeah,
That's
right betwixt Concord and
You and that word.
right and Walnut Creek.
Betwixt. Steve and I just got off a little golf retreat together
That's right.
for our friend
yeah.
Jake's birthday.
So when I'm not selling swag, I'm a semi-pro golfer.
Yes.
I
that
say-
wears salmon pants.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
shirts.
Both.
Both. And you pull it off.
The only reason I say that I'm semi-pro is because Cam pays me when he plays golf with me.
I should have to pay everybody when I golf
Yeah.
them. I suck.
Yeah, I made sure to Venmo request you
You
so
did.
that it went through.
How come
Yep.
nobody else did that?
I don't know,
Like,
'cause-
dude, if you won money, Venmo people so
Yeah.
they can pay you because we're not going to remember.
Nope.
And we're not going to go 3 days back into text messages
And
either.
nobody
Golf
carries
monster.
cash anymore. Because that
Nobody.
used to be the rule. Like, you had to have cash on the course.
Yep.
That doesn't
Does
work
not
anymore.
happen anymore.
Now we do Venmo verification on the first tee.
We should have all just gotten together at the end of it and squared up.
I still just bring a big bag of coins.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
idea.
pay
Rolls
every
of
time,
coins.
but it's just
My
gonna
golf
be
bag has
coins.
room for that. That would be hilarious. 3 rolls of quarters.
Yep. You
Here's your
got 30
30.
bucks. Here you go. Clink, clink, clink.
I like that idea a lot. I'm doing that.
So before we get too deep into this, 2 questions. Do you have an explicit rating on iTunes, and do you want one? Because I need to know.
I definitely need to get beeped once in a while.
Yeah.
But no explicit.
Brent will put in a quack on a couple of words.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Ricky likes a cat's meow.
Yes. The kitty. It's very good.
I just need to know how much I need to rein in Ricky. That's why I ask.
Because I'm a ball of emotion.
Yeah. You have a famous last name, I learned this morning.
I do. We have
It's a murderous last name.
murderous last name. We're like 5th cousins once removed.
It's funny, I'd never heard the Mark Hacking story. I didn't know. When was that?
Oh, 10, 12, 13 years ago.
wasn't
Something
Who
like
knows
go.
when things happen?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't relate it to that name. So when you said hacking, I thought you were just a normal person.
Yeah, I usually
Now that's changed.
I just thought you were
I
a
keep
normal
my distance.
but now that you know I'm not
Because stand-up
normal.
comedians are fairly dark people. Like,
They have
that's a
to
tough
be.
world,
Yeah.
Some.
right?
Yeah.
I would say the heavy majority
Yeah.
Yeah.
are at least the ones I like.
Ricky's like a ray of sunshine on the comedian
Ricky-
tour.
He's a ray of sunshine everywhere,
It's true.
Yeah.
right?
I appreciate. I don't know how to take all these compliments.
So what is the backstory with that?
with stand up,
Yeah.
like how I got started in it.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, always growing up, funny.
He's funny.
in
That's for
school,
sure.
things like that.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, I went to Utah State. And so I
okay.
started hounding there
Mr. Utah State.
was Mr. USU 2003. It's like a mantle of bishop. It just resides with you.
Yeah.
I won doing Little Mermaid Ariel
Yeah.
rendition. It was beautiful.
Ricky had some nice seashells.
It's true. It's true. My wife still holds
I
them
think
as
we'll
trophies.
have some good pictures for this,
Ha, ha, ha.
this post. Oh, man.
But went to Utah State. and there was an improv troupe there in the Black Box Theater on campus, and so I started hounding them to like, hey, I'd love to come try out and do it. And I guess no one had ever really like tried to pursue them to try out. I had no idea, so I did that. I was doing that for about a year, and then someone came and said, hey, we'd like to hire the improv troupe to come do an event.
Improv's hard.
Improv, it's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Best kind of comedy.
It's amazing.
It's great. It's really fun. But yeah, so I realized that at that point, like if they were to pay us, all that money would just go back to the theater department. So I told them, yeah, we'll do it, but I'm going to form my own troupe. And so I ended up forming my own improv troupe. And then
Troop? Why is it called a troop?
it's just what it's called.
Because of how he came up in the scouting program.
TROUPE, right?
Yeah,
It's French.
it's very French. It's
Yeah.
fancy.
It's a troop.
They're artists.
It's like a troubadour.
Because we're not fighters. If we were to call ourselves an
Group of
improv gang,
troubadours.
we wouldn't last very long. So
That would be funny if you were like Troop 321, but spelled it the French way. Wear Boy Scout
Full
shirts.
uniforms
Yeah.
and patches and
we
everything.
do. I'm working on my giggling merit badge.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Good that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we started doing that.
Captain Chuckles.
Captain Chuckles. It's weird how you know my nickname. So as Captain Chuckles running this troupe, we did that, and so I was doing improv, and that was great. And we started doing like big shows where we were doing it for the campus and things like that, where it was couple thousand people there, and it was awesome. And I was doing it with a guy named Dave Ackerman, who ended up being the Oral Brush Tongue for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I bought a few of those.
He did this music video. It's the only music video I've ever known of that was self-proclaimed, but has like 107 views on YouTube. That's like, this is how we do it in the 801.
It's
and
phenomenal.
It's hilarious.
It's phenomenal. He does a really good. He's hilarious.
He throws in the 435 there.
Yep.
For the new people.
Yeah.
Gotta have a 385 now.
Yeah, you got the Park City, and those of us from Fillmore
Right.
covers the rest of the state basically.
So we were doing that. Someone came and asked and said, "Hey, would you want to do stand up?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll try it." And so, for my first time doing stand up, we were at a hotel, and they were like, I asked them, "How much time do you want me to fill?" And like, "Okay, we're gonna have you do 35 minutes." And so
That's a long
it's a
time.
really long time for your very first time.
Jeez.
And so
At the Anniversary Inn.
Yeah.
yeah, it was in the jungle room. There was 3 people.
A lot of mirrors.
I was conned. I didn't realize human trafficking's real. No, none of that's true. I apologize to anybody that's ever been in traffic. So I was doing stand up, and 35 minutes. Had my buddy Dave do it with me. We were in college, and we filled it. And for the first time, like doing it first time, I was actually pretty proud of how
Did you
it went.
like how much preparation went into that? I mean, because you've been doing improv for a minute, so it's very different. I understand that, but
yeah.
like, were you scripting stuff out, or were you like, no, I'm good, I got this?
No, so for me, there's some comics that like to write. I mean, we could spend the whole 2 hours talking about stand up. Some comics like to write out every little thing, every little note, and like face mannerism and things like that. That's not how I do. I have topics that I have my little shtick that I remember the bit that I do about it and kind of line that up and go that route, because I don't have the attention span to write out everything.
Right.
And then I would spend too much time trying to remember, do I now say this? Do I do this? And so I did that. And
But a lot of
went well.
comics are like that, from what I hear. I mean, it's funny how scripted it all is. Like, they'll go to like the little podunk clubs
Oh yeah.
to like work it out with the
Wendover.
peasants,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go to Wendover.
right? Before they're like, before their specials. But it's crazy the amount of prep that goes into all that.
Like the big comics, a lot of them, like even like I believe like Brian Regan and Jim Gaffigan, like they know every mannerism and tick that they're going
Right.
to do. It's all planned.
And they do it the exact same
Exactly.
every
Steve Martin.
single time.
Steve
Yep.
Martin won't even go on Letterman without it being 100% prepped.
yeah,
I remember hearing that on Howard Stern. Like, just even
it's crazy.
a talk show.
Yeah.
But the skill level those guys have and the artistry that they have with controlling the audience and the energy and things like that, it's unreal to watch. I love it.
Wow.
So I did that, and then just went and did some stand up after a few years of working. Then did stand up at Wise Guys and was doing some universities and things like that, and it was just a ton of fun.
A lot of past tense. Are you not doing it anymore?
So I haven't done it for a while. I need to get back into it.
You
It's been
do.
a long time.
You just have the right way about yourself. I don't know. Like you
saying
have a
I'm
quick.
fat. No, I get it. I get
not
it.
fat.
No, I get
husky.
In this time of
Listen.
December, jolly people are around.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have the energy about you. I don't know how to explain it.
Santa hacking.
Like you're quick thinking. Like you're funny. You're funny without material.
Stop it, you.
So, anyway.
Seriously, you're gonna get my number or what?
So how does this translate into my favorite? So we'll back this up a little bit. Elevate Promo.
Yep.
The only company I've ever used for my shirts.
Yep.
And I have a feeling after this interview I'm going to do more because I don't think that I've really grasped the branding thing yet. You were telling me a story, Steve, on the phone when I called you to do this. Or was it on? Anyway, it was after the golf thing.
Yeah.
Just about, you were telling me about the podcast you were on and how you were talking about personal branding and how important it is. And I'm just like, I don't do enough. But you guys have grown a ton since the beginning of Bam Bams, at least.
Yeah.
Like I remember coming over to the little offices in Provo, but how did it start? How did you two come together? Like what's the brief kickoff history of Elevate?
Well, first, thanks for having us here, by the way.
Course.
We're big fans of the show. We were kind of hoping that you guys would have the sex therapist back on with us because I haven't gotten anything from my wife yet for Christmas, and so I need some new tips.
That's the gift that keeps
She's
on
doing-
giving,
That's
Clark.
right.
She's doing the 12 days of Sexmas right now.
There we
in
go.
case
I
you're
have
wondering.
seen that. Yeah.
I've got to stop following so many people because I'm missing all the good things.
That's right.
I've got to clean that list out.
But yeah, Elevate. So Ricky and I met. We both worked at Hewlett Packard.
What?
So I worked at a company called LogoWorks. So it did logo designs for up and coming companies. And a friend of mine, Dan Vance, he went to work there and then said, "Hey, I just got home from doing summer sales," and he's like, "Look, this is fairly easy. They sell logo design concepts. They transfer it to us. We sell them all the cool stuff they can put it on." So we got into that, and I worked there for pretty much the entire time betwixt the summers.
There
It's
it
in
is.
between
Yeah.
for those who
Right.
don't know.
Yeah,
between.
yeah.
It's French.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
like Troupe.
So then I left and went and sold alarms with Cam out in the Sunshine State, is it? That's Florida, right?
That's Florida, yeah.
And during that time, that's when I came on to look.
What is
for
California?
Yeah.
The hole?
The Golden
Sorry, you can mark that down. I apologize.
Quack.
Yeah. He can say that because he's from there.
Yeah, it's true. I grew up there.
Yeah.
I guess no one can say
I do
that.
like it still,
Yeah, no one
but
can say
not right now, I'm sure.
So when I left LogoWorks, Ricky came to LogoWorks. Well,
Correct.
actually, his wife went there first, but then Ricky came.
Yeah. We weren't married at the time.
No. But then when I came back from selling that year, I graduated with my accounting degree and with a minor in business management and marketing. And my wife said, "It's time for you to get the quote
A real job."
Yeah.
It's time to grow up now.
Stop hustling people on the doors
Right.
and go get a real job. So during that time, Hewlett Packard came in and bought LogoWorks. And so when I went back, it
Why?
was now at HP.
Yeah, that's weird.
That does not seem like a
Just to have their own in-house.
They were looking to get into the mediums and small business area,
Yeah.
and use the logo design to then perpetuate printing
You remember
and trying to
Snapfish?
sell more ink.
Snapfish, it's still a thing, Snapfish. HP bought Snapfish. That's where you would go and print all your pictures off.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So
I do
HP
remember
bought Snapfish and bought LogoWorks, and they were going to try to buy all these small business
Services and make a marketplace for
Yeah.
medium and small businesses.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they actually, so we rolled in. We were LogoWorks by HP, and then they built a new brand called Market Splash by HP. Terrible name, but we
Branding company.
Market Kerplunk.
yeah, it was. I still remember because
And all that was out here in Utah.
it's up in AF.
Okay.
Yeah, right there on the freeway. And there was maybe 250, 300 people there on the team, roughly.
Roughly.
They had their own development team, a a big chunk of designers. Ricky was on the marketing team there, and myself and my buddy Dan Vance, we did the promotional products. So when people would buy a logo, they would transfer it to us, and we would sell them the shirts and the hats and the golf balls and the pens and the business cards, anything they needed to put their logo on. And I mean, it was an easy job. I mean, they did not want you to work more time than what you were allotted to.
It's like a government job.
Correct. If a project came in that we knew would take one day, we couldn't quote less than 1 week turnaround time. So there was a lot of buffer in there because they didn't want people to miss deadlines. And each department was given a spending card where you had a budget allotted to that card for different things, team meals, employee morale building exercises, all of this type of stuff.
You could pretty much put anything in there.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the deal.
What is this Southern Exposure buffet for 36 people?
Each team...
It's team morale building.
Each team got the same amount of money put onto those budgets.
Right.
So Ricky's team had like 15, 20 people on it. The developers team had like 50 people. Me and Dan had 2 of us. And we had $12,000 in budget.
Gosh.
So we bought team snowbird passes. We bought team movie passes. We had a great
time.
time.
A 6 handicap.
Needless to say, morale was really high.
Really high in the promo industry.
Those
how do you guys do it?
We're doing really well.
We need 6,000 a person.
And the beautiful thing is that every time we did a company award ceremony, Dan and I won all the awards because we earned more money than the rest of the company combined in the promo department.
With just 2 of you.
So we killed it. But fast forward to Valentine's Day 2011. We get called in and they say, look, HP is spinning this off. We aren't going to be doing this any longer. So a bunch of us got the option to either take a transfer to San Diego or Houston for the same pay, or you could take 6 months severance. And so Dan and I both took 6 months severance, and I went home.
Including the 6 months of budget. Hopefully.
Yeah, we should have finished out that budget. That's what we should have done. But we went home and, well, back up a little bit. By this time, we were working more than just the small businesses that were getting logos built. So I was in charge of all branding for HP internally for North America. So I did all their new product launches. We would do these big events and parties. We would do all of the branded merchandise for all of their sales reps throughout the entire country. So anybody who went into a Best Buy, a Costco, a Staples that was selling HP computers or printers, then we did their shirts, their uniforms, their lanyards, their pens, all the giveaways, and then a lot of the packaging and all that kind of stuff. So we did that.
Were you on like the strategy side too, on like actually creating the brand, or is it more just like the fulfillment side on the pieces?
So on the events, we were on the strategy side. Okay. So we helped plan the events, and part of the training they put me through was on customer experience training, so that we would get trained on how to make events feel more personal to people and how to make events more memorable. Instead of just showing up and like, oh, that was fun, they're like, oh, I need to be invited to the next one, right? And so we would do that, and then we would do these big red carpet events. They did some in New York, they did some in LA, and they would tie them to movies. I remember like they launched the Beats by Dre inside of the HP computers. So we did these custom shirts that had the Beats logo on the back and the HP on the sleeve, and they were these really trendy, like $400 t-shirts that they gave out to all these celebrities that were there. But so the education that I got there was incredible, because they taught me how to source materials, they taught me how to produce things, but they also taught me how to get things turned incredibly quickly. Because a lot of times, like with HP, like any massive corporation, they get to the end of the quarter and they're like, we have $6 million that we need to spend. You know, they had a much bigger entertainment budget than we did. $6 million we need to spend, and we've got 3 weeks to do it. And so I would have like 2-3 weeks time when I would have to build these entire campaigns, source all the product, get it invoiced, and get it paid for inside of 3 weeks. And then not only that, but there was 1,200 reps around the country. So then we would have to get it, have it all split into separate shipments and sent out to all those guys. And so it was a very valuable commodity that they were teaching me. And so going back to that Valentine's Day, I go home and tell my wife, I'm like, look, HP's closing down LogoWorks. Not sure what I'm going to do. And she starts crying. And I'm like, look, we're going to be fine. And she's like, what makes you think that? You don't know what we're going to do. And I'm like, no, but like, I trust in my ability to produce and in my ability to create. And one of the things that knocking doors with Cam taught me was that I'm a hustler. And if there's not something given to me, I'm going to go figure out a way to build it and make it happen.
That's why sales is so valuable, right?
100%.
Like you will always have a job if you know how to sell things.
Yeah,
like it's totally overused, but
it doesn't matter.
Absolutely true.
It doesn't matter what profession you're in. One of my best friends got a job 12 years to get this job. He's a ear, nose, and throat surgeon, one of the best cancer ear, nose, and throat surgeons in the country.
Wow.
And I actually had him come out and sell with us because I said, listen, the best commodity that you will get in your life is your ability to sell yourself and your ability to produce.
Right.
And he's known for his bedside manner and his ability to work with people because of that.
People add surgeries every time.
100%.
It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fix my ankle while you're at it, or my nasal passages.
And he's like, no.
$12,000, no problem.
He's like wrong side of the body, ear, nose, and throat.
It's the
neck
end
and
of
up.
the year. It's okay. I hit my deductible.
It's a nasal cavity in a foot.
That's right.
You don't want to have stinky feet then.
No way.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with your weight.
It's on point.
Ricky,
on
that
point.
is not
It's
any.
on topic. It added a lot to this conversation. You guys are welcome.
But if you look on the inside of his hands, he just rubbed out the marker where he wrote that.
Yeah.
Got 6 other things
Wrote
written
that
down.
last night. I got 4 more
Yeah.
strategically placed.
But so I go home and I'm like, listen, like I did this for all these other companies, and I know all of these people that work in summer sales. Summer sales is like one of the gold mines for the promotional products industry. They buy so much gear for all of their guys. They buy uniforms and hats and lanyards. But on top of that, then they got to go and recruit guys. And so they've got to stand out in places that are highly competitive, like the Hall of Flags at UVU. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And so your gear has to be better than everyone else's gear, right? And so I started to work with companies like that, like Pinnacle, rest in peace, and some of the pest control companies that I worked with. And so a lot of my friends, I was like, look, I'm thinking about doing this. If I did this, would you buy from me? And they're like, oh, absolutely. As long as I'm not paying more to work with you, I'll work with you. And so I go back to my wife and I'm like, we need to think of a good name. And I'm like, what's good with promotion? And she's like, well, you promote something and so you want to lift it up. And she's like, what about elevate? And I was like,
Wow, so Bobby thought of the name.
Bobby thought of the
Just
name.
like that. Huh?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't that quick. I mean, we had one of these yellow pads with a whole list of names on it. It was, I think we had 40 or 50, and I still have that paper.
What was the worst name?
The worst name, Hacking Promotion.
That's so funny. I was just about to
I wasn't
say
even part of it, but it was hacking
and
yeah.
slashing. Or,
Yeah. We kill the competitor
Yeah.
with our service.
Yep.
So pleased to serve you.
Yeah.
Get the job
That
done.
one didn't make the cut.
the job done.
That one didn't make the cut. But so I have that paper with the word Elevate circled on there. I jump on GoDaddy. Elevate promo is available. And one of the biggest things I kick myself about is elevate.com was available, but it was 10 grand. And I'm like, no way in hell I'm paying 10 grand.
Right.
But that's just dumb. And now I look back later, I'm like, that would have been so nice to have
And
elevate.com.
now so many people use Elevate.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Elevate Dentistry.
We were the
Elevate.
first. We were the first.
You were definitely no, seriously. I don't remember seeing it then, but then all of a sudden you kind of started seeing it more. So yeah, I wonder what it's worth now.
It's
You don't
funny.
know how many times we personally
Elevate.com.
trained someone from Elevate Fitness.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, come on in. We'll train you.
Yeah. 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 You need some rehab? Ricky's your man.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's meet at Beto's.
Yeah. So
Step 1.
3 days after getting let go, I filed all the paperwork for Elevate Solutions Inc. That's our official name, Elevate Solutions Inc. Because we wanted to be more than a promo company. We wanted to be a company that provided solutions for everybody, right, in their marketing efforts. And while I was waiting for all that stuff to get set up, I was just sitting there thinking about HP because, like, inside of me, I've always got this thing where if I start a project, I want to finish it. And maybe that's the Adderall. Maybe it's not. One hell of a drug. But we had 6 projects going with them at the time. And so I'm like, what are they going to do? How are they going to finish this? And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to some of the people that are still there. So the main person that I worked with internally at HP was in Dallas. And so I went to my manager who had let me go, and I said, look, this is what I think I'm going to do. I want to go pitch HP on using me as a vendor. And he's like, well, technically you're still an employee here for the next month, and then you've got your severance. So he's like, listen, I'm going to approve you to do some work-related travel to Dallas. And so my manager at LogoWorks paid for me to fly to Dallas. And we took the 2 buyers, the people that we reported to at HP, to dinner and said, look, we've been doing this for the better part of 5 years now. It was actually 4 years and 363 days, because I was 3 days away from vesting at HP when they laid me off. That was bitter. I was a little bitter about that. All my company match gone. See ya. But I said, look, we've been the better part of 5 years doing this, and I know how you guys operate. I know how you guys need a very quick turnaround. You need people who understand your processes and are able to use your budgets effectively. And you've got these 6 projects going. And so instead of trying to start over with someone else or hire a firm to come in and do this, get me approved as a vendor for HP and just keep using me. And so we spent about 3 hours talking through all the logistics of that, how we would do it. And it's not easy to get set up as a vendor for HP. It's very difficult. And it's
kind of like catering at BYU.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So by the time we left that night, we had a plan in place. And by 10 o'clock the next morning, I got a phone call that says, hey, I got you approved as a vendor for HP. So
overnight, wow.
By the time we had our papers of incorporation, we had the 13th biggest company in the world as a client.
Did Bobby stop crying then?
She stopped crying. Yeah. She stopped crying.
Bobby crying, that
was hard.
It's probably hard to get her to cry.
Yeah.
That's a tough family.
Yeah, it's a tough family.
So she must have been freaking out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is like, there's something inside of me that's never really worried about how I'm going to provide for my family, because I know that I can. And I think that that's part of the entrepreneurial spirit, is that this year, for example, COVID hits, right? And I don't think we really anticipated how much of our business was events driven, right? Trade shows. We knew it was
a big part of it.
Yeah,
but it's,
for sure.
Yeah, trade shows, conventions, employee trainings, all of those type of things.
It is just like me with catering.
That's
like,
right.
All that stuff is you don't realize.
Yeah. March 18th hits, and we have $268,000 worth of orders get canceled.
Sheesh.
Ones that are already started, luckily not in production, but like done, quoted, everything's lined up, ready to go. And they start calling us. They're like, please tell me it hasn't gone to production. Vegas just canceled our trade show, or the airlines just closed down Mexico. We can't go there for our company retreat. And so,
golf tournaments, even just all that stuff.
Everything.
Just everything.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and then all the other regulations come out, and so we're now having to work from home and a bunch of other things. And my wife's like, "What if this puts you under?" And I'm like, I don't think it will, but if it does, we'll figure something out.
Right.
Like, I know
that
enough.
Was the Adderall.
That was it again. It gives me a ton of courage. But I was like, we'll figure something out. Like, I am very confident in my ability to create and produce.
Right.
And so we'll figure something else out. We'll make the world's best face mask company and go from there, you know? But
did you look into like sourcing face masks when all that hit?
Oh, absolutely. We've done thousands and thousands of face masks and hand sanitizer and all of that stuff. And we pivoted really quickly. One of the services we put out there was, look, if you're going to have an event and it's going to be virtual, let us build a swag kit for your people, and we will, for free, split it up and send it out to all the participants' homes.
Wow.
So you don't have to do that. And then company parties and work from home kits. So like we just did a huge work from home kit for one of our clients where they have 680 employees, and they got a sweatshirt, a phone charger, a notebook, underwear
to wear for Zoom meetings,
a mask, a Yeti tumbler. And so we had to take all those and put them into 680 kits and send them out. Usually companies will charge a pretty good penny to do that, and we offered that for free as part of this pivot that we did. And just like 3 days ago, we passed up where we were this year to date last year.
Really?
Yeah,
which
we're
is
ahead of where we were last year. It's a huge testament to the leadership, and then also to the team that we have.
Yeah,
right.
Like being able to pivot and respond and create. Like you have on your wall, surprise and delight, emotional transaction, technical transaction.
Right.
Like
you can read that.
Yeah, it's hieroglyphics.
Danny Meyer, Shake Shack.
It's awesome. But that's where it came down to that, with the team and the pivoting and really trying to emphasize the service and focusing on companies that really focused on their employee morale and that, because that was huge during this time period. People are confused, scared, sad, concerned about their job. And if they can get something from their company that's saying like, here's a shirt, we appreciate you, we value you enough to give you this type of things. And it goes so far.
Yeah,
so
because people were worried, like they're like, should we even spend money on marketing right now? Why would we? And we said, look, if you're going to spend it on anything, spend it on things that are going to make your team feel secure. Mm-hmm. Because if they feel secure, they're going to be loyal to you, right?
Right.
And
especially right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, just sending a sweatshirt or something, it's like, hey, with everything going on, they're thinking about me.
That's right.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
It does.
So
any form of recognition, and that's part of it. Is, I mean, we deal a lot with companies' cultures and morale and things like that, and that's where we love to dive in deep and get into it, is to really build that up and help them have that strong structure. And then you go one step further and you say, okay, we've taken care of our core foundation, our employees. Now let's look at our clients and our vendors and make sure that they know that they're appreciated and understood, and extend that way. And people that invested in marketing, they will come out of this light years ahead of other companies that were just holding on to, like, coming from a place of fear.
Right.
For sure. Well, and, I grew up in the state's first capital of Fillmore, the metropolis.
Beautiful.
Beautiful area down there.
They have a Cafe Rio, right?
No. It's the other one.
You're thinking of
Costa Vida.
Wait.
Oh,
yeah,
Costa
right.
Vida.
Yeah.
You and
Right
Clark
across
Jones.
from Maverick.
And the Garden of Eden.
Eaton.
Yep.
It's
delicious.
Boom town. Love it.
But I grew up on a farm down there, right? And we never knew whether it was going to be a good year or a bad year. You don't know whether the water's going to come in, the prices of your crops will be up or down or anything like that. And so, I mean, I got a lesson pretty quickly in life about how, you do the best that you can right now and you pray for the best outcome. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But if it doesn't, you figure out ways to pivot and provide, right?
Right.
And I look back, like I hated working on the farm. I hated it. And I am grateful for it now.
The Adderall as well.
Yeah, true.
It would have been way more fun.
Yeah, true.
Back then, you just took quick.
Yeah, quick.
Got to go work in the field.
Get some quick.
Got some quick. Let's go. Woo.
Or some Tang.
Yeah.
Or some Tang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tang's the one that brings you back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orange Bang. It's whipped.
Whip. Yoo-hoo.
But I mean, I learned a lot of lessons about business that I never realized I was learning on the time, like if we didn't have money in the bank, we didn't put fuel in the tractors, and stuff like that.
Didn't you hurt yourself on the farm? I swear I remember a story that you told me, like you were out by yourself.
Yeah, I was out by myself.
Was it with irrigation? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was 8 years old, and it's a Sunday, had to go change the water, even though it's Sunday. And we had this rule, which I thought was a stupid rule, that you don't wear shorts when you ride motorcycles, right?
That's right. Okay.
And so I knew that the Chicago Bulls were playing that night. It was like game 6 or 7.
That's Andrew's favorite team.
That's right.
Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Let's just open that up, shall we?
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm sorry.
Let's crack that can open.
Yeah, it's fun.
But I knew they were playing that night. They were going to win another one, as DJ Khaled would say, another one. And so I had shorts on, and I'm like, I don't want to change. But I had my hip waders. So my hip waders covered like over 3 inches over my shorts. So I'm like, look, technically I'm good.
Pants.
I'm not exposed, right?
Right.
I hop on my little Honda 80 and go cruising out there. I'm 8 or 9 years old at this point.
This is kind of your parents' fault for not having 4-wheelers.
That's true. It's true.
Right.
But we get out there, and I'm cruising down through the field to change this water, and I look down, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that when I sat down, my shorts came up, so I see like 6 inches of flesh there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever seen some of those wheel lines out in the field, but they have these metal wheels, and then on each of the wheels, they have a little spoke that sticks out for traction. Well, I'm going down this field, but
I wouldn't call those little either.
they're not small.
Right.
But I'm the wheel line's all the way down to the end of the field. So when it gets there, you've got to go and reset it and take it back to the other side. And so we had an old wheel line up against the fence, and then the one that was getting set. So I've got maybe 6 feet of clearance betwixt them. We'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
But I'm going through here. I'm cruising there on my motorcycle, and I hit a little piece of mud, and I kind of get out, and I slide over, and I just bump up against one of those wheel lines, and I don't really think anything of it. I'm like, that was weird. And then I stop, and I look down, and I pull my shorts back, and I can literally see my femur.
Oh.
And I'm like, there's no way that's real.
You imagine
there's no way that's real.
8-year-old doing that like in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you hit that artery.
Yeah. So I reach down and touch it, and I'm like, yeah, that's a bone. That's a bone. That's real. And so, like, the quick thinker that I am, I'm like, all right, house is just across the fence. Let's drop the motorcycle that you don't have to use your legs to use. Let's climb the fence and hop it and run home.
Oh, my gosh.
So I run home. I look down. I see like the all 7 layers of skin exposed or whatever it is. And I go up, and I don't know why I did this, but I knocked on my front door. I mean,
that's foretelling of you knocking doors in California.
We're 5 miles.
Foreshadow.
We're 5 miles west of Fillmore. Our closest neighbor is 7 miles away. We don't have any. We never even lock our doors.
Mind your manners, son.
But I knock on the door. My mom comes out, and I'm like, Mom, I think I'm going to die. And I show her my leg, and she's like, oh, we got to go. I'm like, where are we going to go? She's like, the hospital. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So she
grabs a tourniquet or anything?
She grabs a towel, and we wrap it around my leg, and I hop in the car, and we're driving there, and we don't have cell phones, so my mom's trying to get a hold of my dad. So my dad has installed these 2-way CB radios in each of our cars. So she's like, mom to dad, come in. We got a 911. Meet us at the hospital. And so
13 truckers go, Big Papa's here.
Yeah. I'll be your daddy. We get to the hospital, and my dad's already there somehow. He like beat us to the hospital, and he comes out, and he's like, how bad is it? And I'm like, it's pretty bad. And I'm like, am I going to die? And he goes, probably, but not today.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just like, thanks, Dad. Thanks a lot.
That's good, Dad.
So we yeah.
Probably.
So he carries me in and lays me down in the bed in the hospital, and we unwrap the towel, and like, I didn't even realize this, but there was not one drop of blood. And the doctor, the nurses kind of clean it up and whatever. They call the doctor. 4.5 hours later, the doctor rolls in to come stitch me up.
Gosh.
And I knew exactly why it was 4.5 hours later, because that's when the Bulls game got over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the nurses wouldn't turn it on in there either. I was pretty upset about that. But he came in and he's like, ooh, they said it was a bad one, but they usually over-exaggerate. This is a bad one. So I had 115 stitches put into my leg as a 8 or 9-year-old. So that was fun. Thanks for bringing that up, Cam.
Sorry, I remember it being a pretty amazing story.
Well,
isn't that crazy?
The doctor came and talked to my parents afterwards, and they're like, look, you should talk to him about this because 1/8 of an inch lower would have took his kneecap off. And he said the femoral artery was exposed. He's like, I had to do everything I could not to nick it was a surgery, like cutting him up. He's like, he's alive for a reason.
Right. Wow.
And so that's kind of stuck with me my whole life, that I'm here for something that's bigger than me.
Yeah.
And,
So when you guys were getting started,
wow,
was the promotional industry similar to what it is like today?
I mean, kind of yes and kind of no.
Because I feel like right now, everyone's trying to do it, or everyone's like, "Oh, I can make you a shirt. Heck yeah, I can make you want a hat. I can make you a hat."
I get 10 phone calls or 10 emails, 10 whatever.
They'll go on Alibaba and they'll
Mm-hmm.
find the try-fit whatever shirt. They'll bring it in, and
I would say that I would say it's different. It's evolved. Steve then started Elevate, and then about a year into it, I then
we
came
never
on.
know how'd you guys how'd that happen?
Yeah, so I started Elevate, and I started it. So we set it up, and then I told Dan, I was like, "Hey, we've got HP on the hook. Do you want to come over and do this with me?" And he's like, "Sure." And so the bright business mind that I was, after setting it up, I was like, "Hey, you want to come do this? I'll give you half the company."
You keep saying Dan. Why am I getting confused?
You don't remember Dan?
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
Dan's not.
Does
Dan's
Ricky
not
have a
with us
different name?
anymore.
Okay, now I remember.
So Dan and I ran the company for the first year, and we got to where we had HP that took up most of our time, and then we would pick up a few summer sales companies. A bunch of people that left LogoWorks went and started Stance. Some went to Traeger, some went to Skull Candy, some went to Orange Soda. All of these companies, everyone spilled over into, but they all knew us and that we were still doing swag.
There were a lot of amazing people from
Really
LogoWorks
good.
that just went out to the Utah County and Utah businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And still today, it's like a gold mine of unique, talented individuals. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the people who started Divvy worked at LogoWorks.
Mm-hmm.
People who started Stance worked at LogoWorks. Orange Soda. There's just
Tons of
wild talent that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get going, and we have this bright idea. I mean, that first year, it was me and Dan. We had one assistant, and we had HP and these other accounts, and we made so much money. And we're like, listen,
We're really good at this.
We're so good. We're doing so good.
We're really good entrepreneurs.
And so we're like, look, that's what we're doing with just us. Let's hire a bunch of people.
Let's go get Apple.
Yeah.
We got HP.
Let's hire a bunch of people, because if we hire a bunch of people, things will be even more easy, right?
Right.
We're going to be able to just take
It's
all
a
this time
very
off and everyone
classic
do
beginner
stuff.
entrepreneur mistake,
totally.
isn't it?
Yep.
And so we're like, we need a good marketing guy. Who do we know? And Ricky, after he left LogoWorks, Ricky went and worked for, what was it called?
Family Link.
Family Link, Ancestry.com competitor.
My heritage now.
My heritage now. He and his boss there, I love bringing it up because the best compliment his boss ever gave him on anything he worked on was, "I don't hate this."
Yeah, he was a real people person.
Yeah, I love that, because anytime Ricky's
how I know
really
that you
proud
love
of something he's made for us and he wants to show me, I'm like, Ricky, I don't hate this.
Yeah, that is also the nicest thing Steve has ever said to me.
True. Yeah, he set the bar real high for me to live up to. But so we bring Ricky on, and we have Ricky get in charge of our marketing and helping develop our brand, right? And then we think, okay, well, we need to get a couple salespeople. We need a couple more fulfillment people. And then before we know it, we've grown, but we're making way less money, me and Dan are, because we have all these employees we've got to take care of now. You know what I mean? But we're like, well, what if HP ever goes away? We better start getting a lot more accounts. And so we start building up accounts and hiring and building accounts and hiring. And I mean, I feel like we did it fairly slowly. Like we could have hired a lot more and grown faster, but we didn't ever want to get too far out ahead of where we could handle. And I had a pretty quick epiphany in the beginning, back to what you were saying about the saturation of the market, is that, you know, people could jump on any website, order a t-shirt or a pen or a hat, right? Yep. And if someone wanted to manage it themselves, they could do it a lot cheaper than buying it from us. But there is so much more that goes into branding than just the product itself. Each of us in this room has our own individual brand. Like people think of us and they think this is who this person is, because that's your brand, that's your culture. And companies, a lot of times, especially when they're starting out, they're more worried about the cost of the item than the effect of the item. And
I'm guilty of that for sure.
For sure.
Everyone is when you get started.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad.
What if it's still happening?
I'm glad you bring that up, Cameron.
I know. Listen, I know.
I actually prepared for this because right, we were the first ones to make the Bam Bam's products, right? We were the first.
I was going to say I was an early customer.
You were.
For Elevate.
Yeah, and things were going really well. And then Cameron decides to test the water somewhere else because someone offered him a cheaper price. And I get this text from Cameron. Do you remember this hat?
I do.
Yeah.
I was actually going to talk about this, or I won't say the name.
Yeah. So Cameron decided to try out a different company, we'll say.
Yeah.
And they offered him a cheaper price than what we were charging him at the time.
I played Xbox with the guy a lot.
I know. And he calls me and he's like...
Always equates to good business decisions.
He had my six in many dire situations.
Yeah. But Cameron's like, bro,
I messed up.
I'm really sorry. I need to start this out by saying I should have listened to you. But this guy quoted me a much cheaper price on these hats, and they all showed up really skewed. Like they were almost an inch off center.
They were so
in
bad.
The middle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was like, listen, Cam, that's what the power of forgiveness is. Come on back and we'll treat you right.
Do you believe in Jesus?
It's as if it never happened. So we charged Cam double on his next set of hats.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even pay tithing that month.
That's right. But there's so much more that goes into it than just the product itself.
And I got to say, this is probably one of the bigger, like, they've grown quite a bit, the company we're referring to. Mm-hmm. And it was, you think like, oh, I mean, they seem to be pretty like hot right now. A lot of people are talking about them. But yeah, I mean, that's the difference. I mean, I think that's every industry, right?
Sure.
Like if you just do it right, mistakes totally happen, but you fix them. Like we've had a couple issues where, but I don't even have to ask.
Yeah.
I just send a picture like, hey, there's a few, and it's like 3 days later, everything's replaced, and I don't have to pay for the first one. Like it's the service level is very different than other places.
And that's where like even with what like our evolution as a company, like we're trying to get to the point where we catch all those mistakes before they even get to you.
A lot of them you don't know about.
Yeah, we just take care of it and fix it.
Awesome. I don't say a lot. There's not a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it never happens.
2 or 3 that happen a year, you don't never hear about.
Right.
Out of 3 orders.
But yeah, that's true. Both orders are great. But I wanted to get beyond just a product company. Everyone knew me as somewhere to order products, right? But we wanted to get to where we were deeply involved in the branding side of things, where when you were looking to do a trade show or do a new marketing effort, that you called us in and we sat down with your marketing team and said, they're like, okay, here's the goals that we want to have. We gave you guys a gift bag before we got here, like as a reputable swag company would, but inside of there is a nice cross pen. So these cross pens, they're a $50 cross pen, right? So this is one of the first times we were given the opportunity to sit down with a company and do some strategy with them. But they would go to this trade show every year, and they average signing up 1 new account every other year, right? And I mean,
which for them at that time, they
fine.
Still felt it was worth it.
Yeah, it was fine.
Right.
But they're like, we would like to get so much more out of this than just 1 every other year. And so they came to us and they said, here's our budget. We usually buy coffee mugs and give out as many as we can. So they'd buy the cheapest ones, as many as they can. And so they would usually give out 1,000 pieces. And we said, look, what if we took that, and he had a list of people who were going to attend, and we said, highlight the 100 companies on there that you want to talk to at this trade show. So then we went through that, and we got these cross pens, and they come in a really nice gift box. We took the pen out of the box, and we slid a key into it with a note, and we mailed it out to all of these 100 people 2 weeks before the conference. And we said, come to booth 167. We have something really exciting we want to show you that we think would really help you and your business. And get your free cross pen. And try your key to see if it unlocks the safe for the grand prize. And so we sent out 100 of them. They had 99 people show up.
I was going to say, I'm showing up for that all day long.
Absolutely.
Just the key thing alone, I'm like, oh,
What am I going
Yeah.
I'm going to get that Ford Taurus.
It was a melted Frosty.
Yeah, it was a Frosty.
A melted Frosty.
Vanilla.
Jokes on them.
Yep. And we didn't tell them what was in the safe.
I'm just kidding. It was.
But 99 people showed up. I think it was an iPad. It was like iPad 1 was in it, something like that. But 99 people showed up. They signed 7 clients. And one of those clients was like a $17 million a year account. And they had been trying to get in front of that contact forever. And that contact told them, like, look, when I come to these events, I don't even come to the trade show floor. I am so booked up with meetings with other vendors that I don't even come to the trade show floor. But because of this, I wanted to come down. I wanted to get the pen, but I wanted to see what the prize was. And he signed them. And then the one person who didn't come called him 2 weeks later, and he's like, look, my wife had her baby right before the trade show. Can I still get the pen?
But rules are rules.
Yeah, no.
That's right.
Yeah, no.
You must be present to win.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he sent him a Junior Frosty card that goes on your keychain. Wendy's does not endorse this podcast yet.
Yet.
But so that kind of made us think, like, we want to be more of a branding partner to companies. We want companies to come to us and tell us what their goals are, and we want to help them achieve those goals. Yes, there is a need to have just your random giveaways, right? When you go and you cater, you have stuff to give away to fans and stuff like that, and you have stuff to sell in the store. But building your brand, like, you guys had goat haircuts on, right?
Right.
So we do a lot with them to help them build their brand.
I went and took the boys and tried it out. Oh, it was so fantastic.
Was it?
Great.
Yeah,
they do
it's a great
job.
experience, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to explode next year. We just met with them the other day, and we do all their gear now, and we're going to continue to do a lot more of
Let's
it.
go like 100 new salon, new
Yeah.
stops by the end of the year.
Unreal, right? They've got, what, 10 now? 12? And they're going to be 100 by the end of next
He
year.
was saying, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And so we're in the meeting with him, and he's like, listen, this is my favorite shirt I've ever got. Can you guys do you think you could figure out where it came from and how it, and what material it is and how it was printed? And he holds up a Bam Bam's Barbecue shirt. And I go,
I got an idea.
we made that. We made
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
The blue one.
The blue one.
That's right. I gave that to them
Yeah.
at the podcast.
Yep. And
Next level, baby.
that's right.
Best shirt ever for people under 360 pounds. I've
Yeah.
never worn one.
Well.
That's what I'm saying. So you're
looked at
welcome.
people and said,
You're
"That's a
welcome,
nice
customers. Yeah. You're going to love it.
You're gonna love it. Try
I'm
it.
so jealous.
But I can't tell you how many people, like, we spent a lot of time developing those shirts.
Yeah.
Remember, like,
Yep.
it was more than just the logo. We put like the distressment in there. We gave it some style, right? And I think that's the reason why there's so many companies popping up now, is because people want more than just a logo left chest. They want it to look like it was something that was developed by Nike or Under Armour or
It's going to be good material.
Ricky's favorite Yeezy.
Yeah.
Yep,
Who doesn't like Yeezys?
Ricky loves them.
Me.
Easy.
What? Andrew.
Sounds like
He's kind of a Nike.
I
Yeah,
have the stripes.
Yeah,
I only do the swoosh.
you gotta do the swoosh. Yeah,
Just
me
the-
too.
It's racist.
Yeah, Ricky's the big Yeezy.
The big Yeezy.
But the branding side of it, so we have started a new program that we call the Brand Partner Program. And what this is it allows companies to get ahead of their situation. Because how many times have you called us and said, bro, I'm out of shirts.
Right.
And we're like, okay, when did you run out? Just barely. I just gave away the last one. We're like, you didn't think about that when you only had one left to call me?
It's Annie's fault,
That's
not
right.
my fault. Okay.
But I think the biggest challenge with a lot of people that we work with is that they don't think about ordering until they're out.
Right.
And then they've got an executive or a big client come into town and they don't have anything to give them. And so what we're starting is we want to get ahead of that.
How do you help clients get over the price hump? Right.
Sure.
You have price versus cost.
Yep.
You know, we talked about it a lot. Like, it's easy up front to like, oh man, that's expensive. Like, how do you help them see that value and like kind of make that first investment?
Well, a lot of it, we use case studies. We'll use pictures of people who have strayed from the path. And
Pointing at Cam.
yeah,
You're welcome,
yeah,
Steve.
I know.
You're welcome. I did that for you.
We keep a lot of samples and examples of things at the office that show them the quality of it. But we try to talk to them about a bigger picture scenario and say, yes, like if you wanted to get a Bic pen for 25 cents, you could find someone online that'll send you one. We'll sell it to you for 30 cents. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Don't quote me on that. Don't hold me to 30 cents on those pens.
Please refrain.
But we will, whether it's 5 cents more or not for that one piece of item is irrelevant, because if we can develop this whole package where if you spend $1,000 with us for this event and we're able to get you 7 new clients, it doesn't matter if we charge you $5,000. You're making $7 million because of these accounts that we got in. And that's not easy with companies that are just starting out because they're very budget conscious. And so with them, we tell them, like, look, let's start small. Let's develop a really nice shirt and a really nice hat or some golf balls or something, but you're going to be strategic with who you give them to. So like if you have someone that you want to earn their business and they like golfing, give them the box of Pro V1s, but just put one sleeve in there and say, hey, I know you're that good that you only need this many, but call me back and let's set up a time to golf and I'll give you the other 3 sleeves.
I'd put 2 top flights.
Yeah, 2 top flights and a
balls
pinnacle.
in the sleeve.
That's
of
right.
Pro V1s with one Pro V1. Like if you want the other 2.
The real crux of it is like Steve is saying, is all the things, the programs and things he's talking about, it comes down to their why.
Right.
Like they have this budget, they get sticker shock sometimes, but we even, it's like people will come to us and say, like he's saying, like, I want pens, and we're like, why do you want pens? What are you using those pens for?
People probably get lost in that all the time.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
like,
And they're like,
I want a
spend-
shirt. I want a
Yeah.
hat. Well, why? Why do you want that?
Yeah, and
I
we-
want to give to them. Well, why?
We
Why do you
talk
want
people away from products because it's like, you want to spend $1,000 on pens and you want them to get you leads.
Oh.
That doesn't correlate that way.
The best one is this client that we have from Washington, and they were coming to BYU to do a career fair, a recruiting fair, and they're like, "Hey, we'd like to do 5,000 coffee mugs," and we're like, "Know your audience, guys."
them? Call them hot chocolate.
Yeah.
mugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or flask.
Yeah.
Yeah, flasks.
So we talked them into doing soda cups instead, with a free voucher to go get it filled up, and they had to line down the booth for it, but
Right.
like it is why are you buying what you're buying? And not only that, but like, what are your goals with your company? Like, are you trying to establish a culture of professionalism? Like we do a lot of with bankers and lenders, where like you signed a new account, someone just signed a loan, give them something like a $50 cross pen, something that they're going to be like, wow, they appreciated my business, right?
It's all about what I kind of learned through you guys. I mean, I definitely didn't think of this, but it doesn't matter what you can give away 1 million shirts, but if it's just one of those cheap cardboard whatever, they're not going to wear it. Like
They never work,
people, right?
sure.
The people that I'll give away, I probably give away as many shirts as I sell, and they are a little spendy because it's a really nice shirt, but they wear them lot.
Yeah.
And now they're a walking billboard.
Exactly.
And the other thing that people don't take into account with branding a lot of times is the experience and how it represents your brand.
Right.
For sure.
So regardless of even how you give them something or the experience that's around it, like you give them a crappy shirt and they wear it and it falls apart.
Right.
they then
It's bad.
Even on a subconscious level, they're going to associate the quality of that shirt with the quality of your business.
Yeah.
It's true.
And so you have to always play into that. And that's part of the reason why when we talk to people about their why, it's to understand what their real end goal is. And then we help create that path and a formula that we've proven time and time again, as Steve's talked with all these clients, of by doing this, you get that association with a positive brand and a quality based around it, and you get that end result. You get that ROI
Right.
at the end of the day. And that's where you talk with people when they say, hey, I'm a little budget conscious. Well, let's work with that budget and get creative and
Like
get you
turning
something.
The 1,000 coffee mugs into 100 pens.
Exactly.
And dollar amount, significant difference, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
100 of those 1,000 aren't even going to wear it or use it.
Right.
Oh, but it just takes that stepping back.
Yep.
You know, and
Well, and
Quality over quantity.
you
I
see
mean,
everybody else doing the same thing.
Right.
Of getting a pen at a trade show.
but even
handing
that's
out.
an example, mailing it to them before.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like those are those things where like an outside firm, like you guys have been able to provide that extra. I remember back 2 firms ago that I'd started at Norden, we talked about our next golf tournament. We were going to create this box, right, that we were going to send out to everybody, and then I never did it because Norden went away.
Rest in peace.
But there were some but it was a fantastic idea,
Yeah.
right, on like how to make that experience even better.
When you're doing your homework, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're not just like throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. You're actually saying, okay, because trade shows, I've done them in the barbecue world, and they're just craziness.
Well,
Everybody's
yeah.
just walking around for free crap.
Yep.
And like you want to
Trick or
find
treaters is what
you wanna
Trick-or-treaters.
find-
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you want to find the companies that you actually want.
What's the biggest problem? What's the biggest obstacle to overcome with the trade show? It's getting good people to stop and talk to you.
Attention.
Yep.
Right? And so that's the first thing we talk to with clients is, okay, what are we going to do that get people to stop? Okay. Now, once they've stopped, what are we going to do to get people to be qualified for a lead? So one of the big ones we did, there's Dreamforce, Salesforce's big conference, and Domo was going. I don't know if I can say this or not, but I'm going to. But they were going to Dreamforce, and they said, we need people to stop and come to our booth, and then we need to qualify them, and then we're going to give them one of 2 things. So what we did is we did a room drop for all 10,000 of the attendees that had a Domo lanyard with a key card on it. And it said that, so when they got to the room, they said, wear this lanyard tomorrow with your key card, come by this booth, swipe your key card to see if you won. And so the next day, everyone threw away the free Salesforce lanyard they got, and they're all wearing Domo lanyards all throughout the conference.
Wow.
And they all come up and swipe their card, and the system had pre-picked the people that they wanted to target to be the ones that won. But
It's like casinos.
correct.
Just
Yep.
kidding.
All raffles.
I'm convinced.
I've
They look
learned
at me
how
and
to
say,
rig
"Never
the
mind."
raffle.
That's
Yep.
right. When Cam walks in a casino, they're like, loosen up the slots.
That's right.
We got to keep him here for a long
That's a
time.
400-pound extroverted billboard right there. He'll be
But-
stoked when he wins.
When they got to the booth, they swiped their card. They had to put in their information to see if they won or not. And then they gave them either like this really nice little Nerf custom football we made or a pair of Skull Candy headphones. But they had to capture everyone's information to do that. And they were able to, the people who won, they said, great, let me take you back here to a quick demo and give you your headphones. It got them to come to the booth, right? Another thing I love to do is I'll do things with companies where I'll say, okay, you came here. Now, if you're entered into for this prize, if you go get 3 other people who haven't been to our booth and bring them back, we'll give you more entries into it. You know, so one of the biggest struggles we've had from the beginning till now is people have just looked at us as a source for products. And we're trying to move that shift into being like a branding partner, not really an agency, but like an extension of your marketing team, where we will help you come up with strategy and consulting. We've even done some like culture consulting for companies that have like toxic cultures, where we'll come in and say, here's some things you can do to show appreciation. You know, like people want us to be recognized, and they want to
For sure.
be appreciated. You know, it's the same reason why people give away their social security number to get a free T-shirt at a Jazz game. You know what I
Isn't that
mean?
true.
Isn't that crazy?
Branding has power. It's
like,
true. Like
it's one of those Gildan T-shirts.
it's true.
probably.
Like, look at what
it
you'll
says
do for a
jazz on
free
it.
T-shirt that's not going to fit at a jazz game.
Yeah.
Like I'm elbowing old ladies trying to get a large when I'm clearly an extra large only, Cam.
Yeah.
And you'll do anything.
XL tall.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. There is real power in the brand.
Yeah, and
Where
you
do you
totally
think most
right.
people make mistakes? Like where do you find most people? Is it either everyone does this type of product, or they try to cut corners and go cheap? Like where do you feel most people fall short?
I feel like the place. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true. They cut corners.
it.
They
Well-
try to cut the corner. It's better to go less with a higher quality item than to go super cheap and inexpensive.
Well, and they don't think about why they're buying it.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
the biggest
number
mistake.
one thing is like, why are you actually buying this? Are people going to keep and use the item, or are they going to get thrown away? So, like, let's rewind a little bit here and talk about golf tournaments. We've all been to really crappy
I did
golf
wanna bring
tournaments.
This golf tournament
Right?
up. I thought this would be a good story because I feel like the golf tournament.
Don't get ahead of me.
No, I won't.
Don't get ahead of me.
It's, okay. I'll shut
Stop
up.
talking, Cam.
Jeez, this sucks. This is like my podcast.
This isn't yours anymore.
Oh, Steven. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. We've all been to crappy golf tournaments where you show up and you get this swag bag full of stuff that the sponsors, quote unquote sponsors, had leftover junk in their marketing closet they wanted to get rid of. So they dump it in a swag bag and call them a sponsor. You get it as you check in. You throw it in your cart. You put your jacket on top of it when you're done at the range. You go and you play a 6.5 hour round and get bombarded by salespeople at every hole, right? And then you get done, and then you got another 1.5 hour lunch where you found out the guy that was super good at golf gets a new driver because he hit it the farthest, and the guy that's super good with his wedges gets a new wedge because he hit it the closest, right?
Right.
And then you go home.
And the longest putt gets a really cheap putter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. And then you go home and you're like, man, that was a whole day, right? And so we're like, there's a better way to do this. There's a much better way to do this. And so what we did with our golf tournament is we wanted to use it as a way to showcase the new and fun products that we were giving out. So what we did is that at registration, all you got was a bag. The empty bag.
And the key behind this was also what he described as we focused on the showcase and the experience.
The experience.
But not
Yeah.
most golf
Experience.
tournament bags, like the grocery store bag. Like
Right.
Yeah.
A bag.
Yeah, we would give like a
duffel
duffel bag.
Like a Nike duffel bag.
You know, like
Yeah.
those military bags that the guys going off to war throw over their shoulders? That's
Right.
that's pretty much what you're going to need next year for
we
the
want
next year's.
everyone
Oh,
to
that's
feel
what I'm
like
talking
Captain
about.
America.
That's right.
I'm getting my name on the list
That's
right,
right.
now.
Can't wait. You're on my team.
Yep.
And so I thought back to a lot of the training I got at HP about planning great events and the experience. And so what we would do is every other hole or every hole or so, we would give away a new item. And so like one hole was like this commemorative coin. And so you would do like a little challenge or whatever and you get the coin. And then the next hole was like a custom belt. And then 2 holes down, you would get your choice of like 3 different types of polo shirts. And then we'd usually have 2 or 3 T-shirts that we'd give out that have different designs in it.
And the key to all this is even when you register, we give you the bag at the front, and then you come through and you're picking up items and putting it in the bag even before you get to your cart.
Right.
And that's all based around the experience because there's emotion tied to that experience. Even if
Yeah.
you're getting just a plastic divot tool or something like that, there's emotion tied to going, oh, cool, I got this now.
And I'm eating my Gandolfo sandwich while I'm doing it,
That's
which
right.
makes
Exactly.
it so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Or Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did
a
this
proper way to start.
We did. We had really good success. I mean, the first year we did it, we opened it up for 36 teams, like full slot, and we had 32, 33 sign up, and we're like, man, we are really good at this. And then what happened was at the end of that tournament, people were like, wow, this is so much fun. Can I get on the list for next year already? So we pretty much had the whole next year already filled up. But then we did a video and we talked about it and people talked about it. They're like, this is the best tournament we've
Or they
ever
moved
gone to.
companies.
Stop
and they're
talking
wanting to come-
about
yeah.
it.
Right.
Because I don't want anybody else to come.
And so then what happened is we very quickly developed a wait list for people trying to get on. And so then we did it the second year, and we're like, oh man, we're still great, we're killing it, and we just kind of did the same thing as the year before, and it was still really, really good, but it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. And so then that year, I think we learned a really good lesson, and that the industry and the market is moving away from mass production swag to very custom, very personalized swag. So then the next year, what we did is we said, okay, when teams register, let's get their logo if we don't already have it. And so we built what we called our experience pages. So I went into Ricky, I'm like, do a demo of this little site. It's pretty cool. And so what it was is it's a site that has a conversation with you that asks questions so you can gather info and preferences. And we started to build what we called our player profiles for our clients. So we learned their shirt sizes, their hat sizes, their shoe sizes, their favorite candy, their favorite snack, what kind of golf ball they played. And then we said, we're going to give everyone a polo shirt. Which of these 3 colors would you like to get? Everyone could pick their own color.
And it's even beyond that. It's about creating that experience, and even with like not just the color of the shirt. I would not tell people what they're getting and just say, what pattern do you like?
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're saying, or like, what's your favorite animal? And then based on that, you then get something.
Yeah. So Ricky had to go find a lot of tigers to give out, but
I am the Tiger King.
Yep. So when people came through the tournament that year, when they got to the hole where they got the polo shirt, they're like, oh, I'm going to get the color that I want. And so we had them prepackaged, so they would get it and their team would open it. And in the hero position, we call it, the left chest of the polo shirt was their logo, not ours. And then our logo was small on the sleeve or on the back. And then when they got to the hole with the golf balls, they got the kind of golf balls that they wanted to play, but it had their logo on it and their first name. So it was very personalized.
Now we go with your nickname that you give yourself.
Yeah.
And so there were some really funny names this year.
And when you get to the cart, it's got your favorite drinks in the cooler. It's got your favorite candy bar in the cup holder. And people came to us and they're like, I felt like you catered this for me.
It's so VIP. Like it does. It feels like a $10,000 a team tournament, just not necessarily based on just product, just the thought and the individual attention that you get there.
And that all ties back to the power of branding. And we've constantly been evolving every year. A ton of planning and resources go into it. And like this last year I've been gathering people's favorite jokes and things they say about their teammates. And so this year we put that all into a booklet.
Yeah.
Where when you showed up, you had a booklet where your team, I didn't say who said what, but it was like, they were some hilarious things that they said about each other and the jokes that they had in the back. Like, so you walk away with a booklet of your teammates and jokes, and you then got to see who else was there.
Cam, you would have known this had you shown up.
I'm sorry.
Half the jokes were about you.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I will say when we have you cater, people get really pumped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bam's there for sure.
Well,
I've been a big
that was
supporter.
another thing we changed. We recognized a bottleneck, which was the lunch afterwards. Right. And so what we did is we had Bam Bams come down and give out lunch on the course as people passed them. And then after the tournament, everyone checked their carts in. They came over to see if they had won a prize, and then we did a raffle for the biggest prizes, and everyone went home. So 15 minutes after we were done, people were out of there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We charge an entry fee to get in there because we want to use it to donate to charity.
Right.
And that's one of the greatest things I love about golf is how it brings people together to have a great time, but you can also raise money to do it. And that's part of the reason why, like, I never grew up thinking I was going to own my own business and do this. Like, that wasn't the plan. Like, I got an accounting degree and I thought I was going to go work for a finance company somewhere.
Do you really have ADHD?
Oh yeah.
And you have an accounting degree.
Yeah. So
that's pretty impressive.
When you fill out the form at the doctor's office to see if you have ADHD or not, I was a high 8.
Right.
And the doctor's like, I don't even know if I need you to fill out this form because you've been here for 15 minutes and we've had 7 conversations. So
you like numbers?
I like results.
You like results.
And my
Because you have to love, when you have ADHD, like we've talked a lot about it on the podcast, and you can't beat someone with ADHD if they love what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Like you can't beat them at it. And so, but I would figure with accounting, you have to like it.
I can beat you at golf though.
Yeah.
Oh, not the. I don't know if you're going to beat me on the summer of golf.
Burn
on the ADHD summer.
No,
but I was a scratch golfer.
My mind likes completing things, and I love it when things balance.
Right.
So I love it. So like if you're going through a spreadsheet and you're looking at like all the checks and the debits and credits and understanding that things balance,
right,
makes it brings peace to my soul.
It's very common for ADHD people to have a little sprinkle of OCD.
Yeah,
which I don't have that problem at all. I have probably the opposite, but it is very common.
I do have that. Yeah, and so I mean,
you did show up to our golf tournament, not golf tournament. So this last weekend, Jake Chrisman's 39th birthday, he wanted to get together with 7 of his buddies, and we went golfing for 3 days. Steve showed up with a spreadsheet for all the games, like handicaps, names, weight, height, like everything laid out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose so much money on this trip because I suck right now. But it was
fun, right?
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And like we got home and I just remember looking over 3 or 4 times, and he had all the scorecards out.
I audited all the scorecards.
Transferring
which
everything
ones had
over.
erasure marks next to them.
He did so much extra work for us. Anyways, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. But, I mean, for me, I haven't found a better way to serve people and to provide a service of value as I have with owning my own company. Because, I mean, we've got, 15 families that depend on me and my ability to create and produce and my integrity to run a company that's honest and puts out a product of value.
And centers the logo.
It's very
important.
Because
I took it for granted.
I think that you did.
It matters.
It does matter.
I think that your reputation takes you a lot farther than trying to be the cheapest in town.
Oh,
and
sure.
that's where we cross that hurdle is we say, look, if you work with us, we might not be the cheapest, but you will get the product that you wanted, and it will be one that's effective.
You'll get the outcome you're looking for.
The quality will be like outstanding. And if something happens, because something happens, because like every time something gets customized, a human's involved. So mistakes happen, but we will always fix it. And so,
to me, that almost makes it, in a sense, that's an even better, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it sticks in my brain when like everyone makes mistakes, but it's how you handle it. So like if you deliver a perfect product every time, that's great too. But it's also, it says a lot about a company, how you handle mistakes,
that all
right?
comes down to the surprise and delight aspect of business. And that's where like Steve is phenomenal, but it's like that saying of like
that means
behind every
coming from you, Ricky.
It's a moment.
It is.
Hate it.
He doesn't hate you.
You guys, we're just gonna hug it out. Get these mics out of our face. Let's hug this out.
That's what I'm ready for.
But it's like behind every great man is a great woman. It's the same thing. Steve is out there. He's pushing. He's great. The team is what really also helps us push this and get those brands where they are. We had. Well, how long ago did Chad join us?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. So Chad, tell the story about Chad.
So Chad owned a company called 801 Promos. Chad's a cute little guy.
He is. He's adorable.
He's the grandpa of the company. He's all of what, 43?
Yeah, he's
44.
A few years older than me, but we referred to him as grandpa.
But he owned a company that was very similar to ours, but he had gotten as big as he could with just having him and one employee. Like he couldn't handle any more capacity. And so he saw our building up on the freeway, Thanksgiving Point in Lehigh. He saw us up there as he was driving back from an appointment, and he's like, I'm just going to reach out to those guys to see if they would be open to me bringing my book of business and joining up with them. And wow. Chad's been a great asset to the company because probably because of my ADHD, I am the least effective when I'm sitting at my desk. I am the most effective when I'm out here with Cam or I'm out meeting with clients. And actually, that's actually why I got into golf as much as I did. I started playing golf 6 years ago.
Right.
That's like when I started playing golf. And I would go out and I would just join men's league and I would just become friends with people. And then by the time we were done, I would have 2 or 3 requests for new accounts. Chad is the most effective when he's at his desk because he is very much much an executor. He wants to be able to immediately respond. He wants to be able to provide answers and to make sure everything is flowing correctly.
He loves checklists of being able to say, that's where his satisfaction can come from, of saying, got this done, this done, this done.
Yeah. He's an executor, and we have our management team really complements each other, because like one of our clients said it perfectly. They said, look, I love Elevate and I love the brand you guys portray. And he said, here's how I describe you guys to people. Steve walks in the morning and says, we're going to the moon. It's going to be so fun. Let's go to the moon. And then Chad goes, I don't know if I wanted to go to the moon. Why should we go to the moon? I've never even been there. I don't like the moon. I don't know if I want to go there. I'm asleep before it even comes up. And then Ricky goes, great. Now I got to figure out how to get us to the moon. Here we go. How are we going to get to the moon? And then Miranda goes, great. I got to pay for us to get to the moon. How are we going to pay for it? And so I think She
says, how are you going to pay for it? Not just no.
Yeah.
She says, how are we going to pay for it?
Yeah. She says no. And then I say, we're still going. Let's figure it out.
Right.
And I think every great team needs to have somebody who's the idea man, the visionary. Every great team needs to have somebody who's the executor, who's the devil's advocate, who's going to be like, is this a good idea or is it not a good idea? Because like every idea I come up with is brilliant. Like it's life-changing.
and then I say, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Sometimes I push back at him so he can see the vision, but other times I'm like, you're right, I was dumb. But I think we live in a world where people are afraid to be creative. And I think that we live in a world where people need to be able to understand who they are, and everyone has the ability to overcome the challenges that you're faced with in life. A lot of us have more challenges than others, but whether we've made mistakes, whether we've not lived up to whatever we think we should be doing, you could should all over yourself. People have the ability to grow.
That's a good one, Andrew. I haven't heard that from you.
Yeah.
You can shit all over yourself.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that word.
That's right.
All over yourself?
It's a naughty word.
Yeah. Should is a bad word.
That's actually I really like that quote.
There's a lot of guilt.
Shit all over yourself.
There's a lot of guilt associated with the word should.
Right.
I should be doing that. But I feel like if people are able to understand themselves and develop confidence in their ability to produce and create, whether it's to create phenomenal barbecue, whether it's to create great podcasts, whether it's to create great jokes like Ricky does here, or to be able to create a brand. We each hold our own brand. And so if you're able to let go of all the things that don't really matter, it doesn't matter if you didn't check all the boxes in a day, just celebrate all the boxes you did check in a day. And then you take that and you develop the confidence in it, then no matter what the world throws at you, you're going to be able to produce and create.
Right.
And you can develop confidence in that. And you can use that confidence to inspire others. And I truly think like we've had a lot of turmoil this year with elections and COVID and all these other things. And there's not a lot that we can do other than voting, but you can control yourself. And if you are confident in your own ability to take care of yourself, then you can instill that confidence into your family and your kids and your community, and that's how we can improve. And you can build the brand and culture of you and your family and your community. And that's what we want to do, is we want to be able to come into these companies we work with, and we want to help them build that culture, and we want to help them build their community and their tribe of people that'll support them.
I like that a lot. I mean, you're bringing out, maybe you're helping somebody see that they are creative, bringing that out of them, right? Just because it's hard. A lot of people don't think like that. I don't. I mean, the whole branding thing, like I got lucky with my logo. Like it was free. It was a finals, a BYU graphic design final. And I got to pick the best one. And
Oh, that's great.
But it's...
Creativity's more than just a logo, though.
No.
Creativity is understanding how to use it properly.
Right. Well, and that was my point, is it doesn't mean anything until it has something behind it, right? Like the logo could be cool. Like if you saw the Nike swoosh before the shoes, like
Steve Prefontaine.
oh, what a dumb...
Rest in peace.
It was crooked.
Yeah, I mean, just like, what does that mean? Dumb. But you're right. But I mean, it is confidence boosting to be able to see something that you build, you add meaning to, and to have somebody help you kind of express that, I guess.
Yeah. We help you create the vision.
It helps you see yourself in a little bit different light.
Yeah.
And we all probably have more creativity inside of us than we even know, right?
Absolutely.
And so
we want to bring that out in people, and we built a branding partner program where we put people on to schedules where we will proactively reach out to you to say, what do you have coming up next month?
right.
And then you'll never run out of product.
How do people
on
get in touch with you guys then for that kind of stuff?
Call Ricky at 801
Any day or night, I'm always willing to talk. I'm a big
1-800-BIG-POPPY.
No, just reach out to our. They can go to our site, elevatepromo.com. They can reach us.
Not elevate.com.
Not elevate.com.
Unfortunately.
No,
Gosh, damn it,
Elevate
Steve.
Promo.
I'm just kidding. Elevatepromo.com.
ElevatePromo.com.
They can call us at 855-333-5388.
There's no space in the golf tournament, so don't even. I'm sorry.
Well,
Are you guys active on
I'm
social?
just kidding.
We're active,
We are
on
active
the
on social.
We're on the web.
go
Yep.
at
We're on the
Elevate Promo for
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn is typically, those are the main three ones we work with. They can call us at any time. We're more than happy to consult and jump in and just even answer questions. And we give free consultation of like, okay, what are you really trying to do initially, just to really dive in
Right.
and figure out what you're trying to accomplish and anything that way. Because
We're a lot more exclusive with who we work with than who we used to be, because we want to work with people who need a branding partner, not just someone that's trying to find a few hundred pens. And so if somebody needs that help and doesn't want to hire a full marketing team, that's where we fit in best. And so we'll come in and save you that overhead cost of hiring somebody by doing that. But you asked this earlier, what's another mistake people make? And you can take great design and put it into a product. And so one of the things we wanted to offer to your listeners is that anyone who calls in or emails Ricky at elevatepromo.com,
or mentions in the nitty gritty.
Ricky with a Y, not an I, as you would probably think
Correct.
from his voice.
Based on how I talk and my regular demeanor, it's not.
I'm not Cameron with a K.
Yeah, it's not
Cameron with a
Ricky
C.
with an I.
It's Cameron with a Y.
Troop with an E.
I'm constantly mistaken
So if
for
anyone
Ricky Lake.
if anyone calls in or emails Ricky and mentions that they heard us on the Nitty Gritty, we will give them a free T-shirt design, fully custom design.
Wow.
Yeah.
That can be used on hundreds of
pretty
products, exclusively through
Wow.
Elevate.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a creative custom design done for you that can incorporate your logo, or even for your celebration of Disneyland reopening when it'll eventually happen, then call us and mention that you heard us here on the Nitty Gritty.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, because I feel like a lot of our listeners are trying to.
I'm going to call in so we can get some nitty gritty shirts made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot of our listeners are those people that are trying to talk themselves into making like the dive. You guys, you just start my own thing, leave the company.
Yeah.
That might be a cool little thing to
That'd
push
be
them over.
It's a huge help
It is.
as you're getting started.
Yeah.
Anyway, very cool,
come
guys.
come meet with us. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a big conference room so people can social distance in there.
Yep.
I'm sure you can do it remote, right?
Yeah,
There-
we can do it
Yep.
remote
Other
through
places.
Zoom. We have clients all across America. We've got some in Australia now. So we're
global.
we got started out with a worldwide company, Hewlett Packard, as a client. So we can handle huge projects, we can handle small projects, but we just want to be a partner to those that we work with.
That's the thing. The fact that you guys still seem accessible, because I know you guys have worked with. I think I remember coming in there once. There were just boxes. I'm like, who's it? I think it was Chipotle.
No, it was Traeger.
No, I know you did Traeger.
Traeger,
I
yeah.
mean, big companies. But the fact that I can still call and get, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So and I think that's really important.
Well, and we focus on that.
Right.
As much as we talk about experience, we mean it on our side and on your branding side. We really focus on the experience.
It's really cool to hear the story and see how much it matches up with the company as a whole, right? Like it all, it's very consistent.
It's like a circle.
Do a great
it goes
job.
around and around. It never ends.
and
It's like a
around.
circle.
The funny part is,
I'm done giving him serious compliments.
yeah.
I'm not doing more.
Listen,
He can't handle it.
I appreciate you complimenting me, but nobody can compliment me as good as I can compliment me.
I told
I've
him
noticed.
a few years ago, I would give you more compliments if you would just stop complimenting yourself for a second. And then he came back with that, like, who can do it better than me? No one. So I'm like, all right, you got what you got.
Listen,
Gosh.
we better wrap this up because I did take an Adderall this morning. I could go for 5 more hours.
Yeah, you guys asked 3 questions, and
I
it's
would-
been an hour and a half
It
of him
has.
answering it.
One time I took one right before church and I had to sit on the stand and I leaned over next to the guy and I was like, hey, if you need someone to speak for a few minutes, I took my Adderall this morning. I'm feeling super chatty. Call me in if you need me.
Take one on testimony meeting
He
day.
was very grateful for that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, thanks guys for coming in.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you so
us.
much for being willing to give back a little bit too. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thanks guys.
I can't wait to use my crossbow.
Yes.